Welcome, fellow aviators, to another explainer. Today, we're unlocking the incredibly rewarding, yet admittedly challenging, world of night operations. For pilots really looking to deepen their knowledge and expand their capabilities, flying after the sun goes down offers some of the smoothest air and the most stunning views you'll ever experience from a cockpit. But it demands a completely different level of respect and preparation from us. We aren't just flying in the dark, we're operating in an entirely different physiological and environmental landscape. Let's get right into it. It's a fascinating question, isn't it? As pilots, we are highly visual creatures. A staggering 80% of our spatial orientation, literally our brain's ability to know which way is up, down, left, or right, comes directly from our eyes. So what happens when we turn out the lights? Well, our absolute primary tool for orientation is severely degraded. Because we rely so heavily on our vision, we must completely rewire how we trust our senses in the dark. We can't just fly by the seat of our pants anymore. We have to essentially relearn how to see. Okay, let's dive straight into our roadmap for today. We're breaking this down into 1, the internal phase, 2, the environmental phase, 3, the preparation phase, 4, the ground phase, 5, the flight phase, and finally, 6, the emergency phase. Let's kick things off with section 1, the internal phase, the science of night vision. Before we even step onto the tarmac, we really need to understand our own biology. Every single image you see starts when light enters the transparent window at the front of your eye, called the cornea. It travels through the lens, which focuses that light, and then it hits the retina at the back. Think of the retina as the film of a camera. It contains highly sensitive cells that convert light energy into electrical impulses. Those impulses then travel right down the optic nerve straight to your brain, which translates them into the world around you. Simple enough, right? But the magic, and honestly the vulnerability for us as pilots, lies in the specific cells sitting on that retina. The retina relies on 2 main types of light-sensitive cells, cones and rods. Think of cones as your daylight crew. They're packed into the center of your vision in an area called the fovea. Cones are amazing at sharp detail and color, but they're absolutely useless in the dark. Rods, on the other hand, well, they're the night shift. They handle your peripheral vision, they can't see color at all, which is exactly why everything looks kind of gray at night, but they are up to 10,000 times more sensitive to light than cones. The catch? Large amounts of light instantly overwhelm and blind these highly sensitive rods, completely wiping out your night vision. Think about turning off your bedroom lights at night. At first, you can't see a thing, but slowly, the shapes of your furniture start to emerge. That is dark adaptation in action. You need to avoid bright lights for 30 minutes because it takes your retina exactly that long to build up a special chemical called rhodopsin. This chemical is what literally allows those rods to function in dim light. Once you have it, your eyes achieve full dark adaptation. But if you glance at a bright cell phone screen or a white flashlight, bam, that rhodopsin is instantly destroyed, and your 30-minute timer completely resets. You're back to square one. Now, what's really fascinating about our biology is how it creates a literal blind spot at night. Because the dead center of your retina, the fovea, is packed with those cones that don't work in the dark, you actually develop a night blind spot right in the center of your vision. I mean, if you stare directly at an aircraft or a tower at night, it might literally vanish. To see objects clearly in the dark, you have to intentionally look about 5 to 10 degrees off-center, exposing your peripheral rods to the image. It's a technique that definitely takes practice, but it's absolutely essential. But your rods can only do so much if you aren't treating your body right. Let's talk about the factors degrading night vision. Sharp vision requires a massive amount of oxygen. In fact, your night vision can start to deteriorate at altitudes as low as 5,000 feet due to mild hypoxia. Other physiological tracks include fatigue, which hits way harder at altitude, and even a poor diet lacking in vitamins A and C. Things like carbon monoxide, smoking, alcohol, and drugs severely degrade your baseline capability because they rob your blood of that vital oxygen. Bottom line, a healthy pilot simply sees better in the dark. So, your eyes are adapted and you're perfectly healthy. Now we enter section 2, the environmental phase, unseen dangers. Even with perfect eyesight, the nighttime environment absolutely loves to play tricks on our mind. Let's look at these 4 legendary night illusions. First, the false horizon. Sloping clouds or a string of ground lights, like a distant freeway, can easily trick you into thinking the horizon is tilted. Next is autokinesis. If you stare fixedly at a single star or isolated light in total darkness, your brain will literally invent movement. It's wild. Then there's flicker vertigo. Flashing strobes reflecting off clouds or your spinning prop can cause genuine nausea and dizziness. And finally, the black hole approach. Landing over dark water or unlit terrain strips you of your peripheral cues, causing you to fly dangerously low. The solution to all of these? Strict, unwavering reliance on your flight instruments. Understanding those illusions directly informs our next step. Section 3, the preparation phase, before we fly. Night flying requires a much more robust strategy than a typical day run. First, we have to navigate a bit of a regulatory maze. When exactly is it night? Well, for turning on your navigation lights, it's simply sunset to sunrise. But for logging official night flight time, night starts at the end of evening civil twilight and ends at the beginning of morning civil twilight. Civil twilight is defined as the time when the sun is between the horizon and 6 degrees below it. It's a small distinction, but an incredibly important one for keeping your logbook strictly legal. Let's talk gear. You absolutely need flashlights, plural. A white flashlight is used for pre-flight inspection outside the aircraft. Why? Because under a red light, a leak of red hydraulic fluid will just look like dark water or be completely invisible. You'll miss a critical failure. However, a red flashlight is mandatory inside the cockpit to preserve your dark adaptation and protect that precious rhodopsin we talked about. Just remember, red light will magically make the magenta airspace lines on your sectional chart vanish. The FAA is very clear on pre-flight needs under FAR 91.205. Beyond standard day requirements, you need spare fuses, a landing light if you're operating for hire, anti-collision and position lights, an adequate power source, and illuminated instruments. But beyond the legalities, your personal prep must be sharper. You need a 45-minute fuel reserve at night, not 30 minutes. You've got to closely check the temp/dew point spread for ground fog risk, and a great tip, draw your course lines in thick, bold black ink on your charts so you can actually read them in the dark. All right, the planning is done. Let's head out to the ramp for Section 4, the ground phase, engine start and taxi. This is a crucial point of ramp etiquette. Keep the strobe light off until taking the active runway. At night, typical ramp hazards are incredibly hard to spot. Before you start the engine, definitely turn on your position lights and beacon so people know you're firing up. But keeping those blinding white strobe lights off prevents you from destroying the dark adaptation of every other pilot out there. It's just smart, courteous flying. Taxiing at night is honestly like following a beautifully lit, color-coded map. Taxiways have blue edge lights and green center lines. Once you hit the runway, the edges switch to white. Runway center lines are white, but they turn alternating red and white towards the end to warn you you're running out of asphalt. The touchdown zone is marked with steady white lights, and LHSO, or land and hold short operations, are marked by a row of pulsing white lights. Decode the colors and you can confidently navigate anywhere. You're cleared for takeoff. Section 5, the flight phase. Takeoff, cruise, and approach. This is where outside visual references drop away. Once you leave those ground lights behind, your in-flight orientation gets critical. You must constantly cross-check your instruments to prevent controlled flight into terrain or CFIT. Relying solely on your feelings at night is a trap. Beware of halos around ground lights. That's a dead giveaway you're flying into fog. And be extraordinarily cautious over water. There's no horizon, and stars reflecting on the water can make it absolutely impossible to tell up from down. Also, remember that altitude totally changes how we perceive lights. At 5,000 feet, city lights are a confusing blob, but lower down, you can clearly pick out individual roads. When you're returning for your approach, keep your traffic patterns a lot tighter than usual because distance is incredibly deceptive at night. And most importantly, rely heavily on your VOSI or Poppy glide path indicators. Our natural tendency in the dark is to fly a dangerously low, shallow approach because the darkness hides the terrain. Don't do it. Trust the red and white lights. They will guide you perfectly down to the threshold. Finally, we reach Section 6, the emergency phase. It's the scenario nobody wants, but every aviator must be ready for. If the engine quits, stay calm and aviate. 1. Immediately establish your best glide speed. 2. Turn toward a known airport or away from congested areas. 3. Announce your emergency to ATC so they know exactly where you are and can send help. As you descend, look for an unlighted area near a road for an easier rescue. Keep track of the wind so you don't land with a tailwind. And 4. Use your landing light right before touchdown. If you turn it on too early, you'll blind yourself while you're still trying to glide. Even during a totally normal approach, if you lose sight of the runway or if something just feels wrong, execute a go-around immediately. Do not try to salvage a bad approach in the dark. Apply full power, pitch up, and rely on your instruments to climb. But beware of the trim stall.
Because you don't have outside visual references to gauge your pitch, the airplane's nose can rise way too high when you apply that go-around power. Keep a firm hand on the yoke and glue your eyes to that attitude indicator. Flying at night is an incredible privilege. It unlocks a serene, beautiful side of aviation that daytime flyers just never get to experience. But as we've seen today, it demands deep respect, intense physiological awareness, and meticulous preparation. The night sky is waiting, offering the smoothest air you'll ever fly in. So the final question is, are your eyes, your mind, and your airplane truly ready for the dark? Keep learning, trust your instruments, and fly safe out there. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.